Hi everyone, this is my presentation on the resources for evaluation provided by the Center for Nonprofit Excellence in New Mexico. As you can see, this group is a program of the United Way, and it's funded by the United Way Community Fund and Corporate Cornerstones, as well as some foundations and individual grants. The mission of the CPNE is to strengthen the capabilities of New Mexico nonprofits so they can more effectively meet their own mission. They achieve this by providing resources, training, directories of jobs and fund sources, as well as community connections. Of course, they also provide a ton of resources on evaluations. On the resources page for CNPE, there are a number of different links for a lot of different categories of things that are relevant to nonprofit leadership. All of the links, almost all of the links, the ones that are still active, link to tools, information, and academic resources relevant to each of the topics that they cover. The evaluation section is divided into 7 different components: program evaluation, impact evaluation, collective impact evaluation, logic models, charts, program evaluation software, and other relevant websites. The section opens with the following quote: "Evaluation examines the design, processes, implementation, and outcomes of a program. It enables an organization to deliver services, demonstrate impact, and provide information for future improvements." Combined with the information in the other links, this page does provide a pretty comprehensive list of tools that can be used to facilitate program evaluations. On first glance, though, for nonprofits unfamiliar with the evaluation process, this list alone can look a little daunting. It might be helpful to suggest a first step, which would be in getting the leadership of nonprofits to clearly articulate what they want to achieve, why it's important, and why they're uniquely qualified to deliver on those goals. This section on program evaluation is the longest of all of the sections and includes the most links. Some of them are not working anymore, but those that still are contain fairly generalized information about the process of program evaluation. It's obvious from this and other statements on the website that program evaluation is what CNPE considers the most important, and it emphasizes looking at organizational structure and outputs of programs. Excuse me. Most of these are very useful websites and have some pretty compelling information about the power of evaluations, but I found there was little information about the evaluation process for specific sectors. For example, if I were looking for resources on conducting a proper evaluation in the arts and culture sector, this website would provide general guidelines, but nothing that would facilitate this particular type of evaluation. So I found the impact evaluation section kind of interesting. There are only 2 links in this section, both of which are centered on academic information rather than tools to facilitate evaluations. As you can see, one of these links actually discourages nonprofits from attempting assessments on overall organizational impact. It becomes pretty obvious that the organization, NCPE in general, does not think that impact evaluation is very important and doesn't provide much by way of tools for nonprofits, especially smaller ones, to evaluate their overall impact. This section, much like the previous one, also has mostly academic pieces speaking to the value of collective impact data gathering. If you're a nonprofit looking to start or refine evaluation processes in your own organization, this section is one you'll probably not visit. And if you do, you'll probably only stay briefly. There is important information here about understanding the overall impact of the nonprofit sector, which I think is valuable for oversight agencies and maybe even some evaluation companies. But for a single organization looking for guidance, I don't imagine, especially in the context of the interviews from week 3 and 4, that they'll spend much time on gathering data to measure the collective impact of nonprofits in their sector. on the evaluation resources are logic models and charts. The links for these two categories have much more of a how-to feel than an academic one. These links provide practical information on how to conduct and document assessments based on three methods mentioned: the logic model, PERT charts, which are project evaluation and review technique charts, and Gantt charts, which can be very helpful in establishing timelines for nonprofits. These are tools that are particularly helpful for nonprofits who have never conducted evaluations before, in my opinion. So some of the websites are not active on this section of program evaluation software and other websites. Mostly these are links to fee-based tools and services nonprofits can use to help in conducting evaluations. Some information on these links is also academic. It's possible that CPNE included some case studies here to inspire nonprofits to engage in the evaluation process. Okay, so to conclude, while looking at the website as a whole rather than just the evaluation section, it's clear that CNPE believes in the value of evaluations as a tool to facilitate funding and organizational efficiency. Some of the information included would be very valuable for nonprofits intending to conduct their own internal evaluations, especially for the first time. Information like the logic model and how-tos on charting can be very valuable for people attempting evaluations for the first time. There are a couple of weaknesses in this website as a resource. Firstly, impact evaluations are de-emphasized to the point that some organizations are actually discouraged from even attempting them. Secondly, a lot of the information included sounds like it would be practical, but actually links to academic studies. For example, in the program evaluation section, there's a link to a site that sounds like it'll give information on how to evaluate performance in complex place-based work, but instead the authors of the article link to speak generally about goals and challenges. Overall, this website included a lot of great information on how to conduct evaluations and the value of evaluations, but in a couple of areas it was lacking, most notably in the impact evaluation department. And also, considering the fact that this group intends to benefit nonprofits in the New Mexico area, there was very little information about geographical advantages or challenges of running nonprofits in New Mexico. In fact, even the resource page on funding contained national funding sources rather than New Mexico funding sources. If I were a nonprofit operating in New Mexico, I may use this page to facilitate evaluations and to develop networks, but it certainly wouldn't be the only resource I would use.